Thanks for joining us today. This is the SBDC, Shasta-Cascade Small Business Development Center. I'm Linda Fitzgerald. Welcome to Introduction to Microsoft Excel. The Shasta-Cascade Small Business Development Center is a nonprofit organization. We provide confidential, no-cost advisory and training services to small businesses. We're sponsored by the SBA, the California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, and we are so glad that you're here to learn and improve for your business. Like I said, this is no cost, and we have a variety of experts in a variety of fields here to support you. We support Shasta and Trinity counties, but thanks to Zoom and these online webinars, we have a lot of people joining us outside the area, so thanks for being here. I am Linda Fitzgerald. I'm the one right in the middle on the top there. And we have, as it shows here, 40 additional subject matter experts. So keep in mind, what are the needs you have for your business? We'd love to hear in the chat if there are certain topics you'd like us to train on for future webinars. I'm going to start with our disclaimer. The information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to registrants are intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, and other professional advice specific to their situation. The Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, the HSU-sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any of the information presented in this webinar. This is me, Linda Fitzgerald. I worked with Microsoft for 7 years, so I know Excel very well. I was a financial analyst for 8 years, and I've been running my own, financial analyst for 10 years, and I've been running my own business for 8 years, and Excel is the tool that I absolutely love. So here are the topics we're going to cover in the Introduction to Excel class. We're going to talk about navigating a worksheet, navigating a workbook, formatting, autofill, basic formulas, page layout, and backing up files. So now let me stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to take you over to Excel. Here we are in Excel. This is a blank worksheet. Notice that there are all these different little squares that we call cells. I can click on each one.
Hang on a second. I'm sorry. Can you guys see the screen? Okay, can somebody put in the chat whether you can see the screen? Can you see her Excel workbook? You can? Okay. Apologize, it's got to be me. Okay, sorry, continue. Thank you.
And if there ever is a viewable issue, please put it in the chat, because David, are you able to read the chat? Okay. All right, so here we are in Excel. Notice that Excel has, like I said, these are all cells. Across the top, you're seeing letters. Each column, this is called a column, each one has a name, and the name is the letter that appears at the top of the column. So when I click on one of these letters, it highlights that entire column. On the left side, we have numbers. When I click on a number, it's highlighting the row. Each row has a number. Over here, this little bar, I kind of think of it as an elevator. I can scroll up and scroll down. It's only going to move within the range that I've traveled. So right now, when I travel down on this little elevator here, it only goes to 21 because I haven't really covered much material in this spreadsheet right now. But if I click on a cell and I hit the Enter key, I go down and notice there's a lot of rows beyond the 20s. In fact, I can go to multiple thousands. As I move, I can use my arrow keys to move left and right. When I'm in a cell, if I hit Enter, it goes down. If I hit Tab, it goes to the right. And I talked about the labels on the columns and the labels on the rows. Each cell has a cell address. When I click on a cell, look up here in the left, you're going to see F12. That is the address for this cell. So this cell, the address is listed by the column first, which is F, and then the row, which is 12. That is one particular cell. I can also select a range of cells. And by doing that, I can click down and drag, and I have a range of cells, and it uses the address for that cell. And actually, if you look at the bigger formula, it has a colon to the next cell. So you can select ranges. So right now we're in a worksheet. This is one item that we can tap into. Now, I also want you to know it's called a workbook. And the reason for that is down here, you can add more sheets. When you open the standard Excel file the first time, a blank workbook, it only shows up with one sheet. You can add more sheets by clicking this plus button. You get another sheet and it's blank. Now, I've been in here playing and I've been entering some things, but let's go back to that first sheet. The beauty of Excel for your business is you can track financial information. I love Excel. I have used it for years. If you took Excel away from me, I would not know how to take care of my business because I track so much information here. So let's enter some data and show how we can do this. When you type in Excel, without typos, you can type into a cell and notice the cell is smaller than the text. And what it'll do is it'll just flow over to the next cell. Now, if I need to type in this cell, all of a sudden this information here is hidden. It's still all there. Look up here. All the text is there, but it's hidden because these are overlapping. Now I get to resize this column right up here. I can take my mouse, put it over there. I get a double-headed arrow. I'm holding the mouse down and I can drag it larger. I can drag it smaller. There's a really nice feature called Best Fit. I can double click right here and it adjusts to the width of the longest entry in that column. If I want to replace information, for instance, I don't really want the word test here, I can just click on it, backspace, and it's gone. Now let's put some information in about your company. Let's say you're tracking sales and you want to look for the whole year. So we're going to put January. Now we could go through the process of typing January, February, March, all the way across, but there are some neat features of lists that are already in the system. Watch this. When I click on January, this cell, notice, I'm going to make my percentage a little bit bigger so you can see better. Notice there's a little box in the bottom corner here. When I drag this to the right, it auto-populates because it knows the months are a list that people use frequently. So I can drag to the right. And if I drag all the way across for many columns, it will go January to December and then start with January again. So that's a really nice feature. Let's imagine that we are a company that's selling a product. And we'll just say Gadget 1. And we have a certain amount of sales that we have for each of these months and we want to track it. I'm going to remove April and instead I'm going to put in Q1 for the first quarter. And in January, we sold 30 units. And then I can hit my tab key after I enter to go to the right. And in February, we sold 25. And in March, we sold 6. So I have information here. Now the quarter is a total. I have an option here, a button that gives me a formula. It's right up here. See this? It's sigma in the Greek alphabet. And when I hold my mouse over it, I get a tooltip. It says automatically add it up. Your total will appear after the selected cell. So I'm going to click this button. And Excel looks for lists in the area. And it says, oh my gosh, you've got numbers on the left. You must want to add these. So it's filling in the formula for me. If you look right here, a formula is when you're telling Excel to look at other cells to do something mathematical with them. This particular formula is equals sum and then a bracket, and it has the range of cells that have that address. So by range, it's doing the name I told you about a minute ago, B5, C5, D5. The colon means capture everything in between. I'm going to hit the enter key, and there is my formula. When I put formulas in Excel, I don't like to leave them all black because I might come back to this file in a week or a month and I lose track of which items are formulas and which aren't formulas. So there's a couple different ways I like to do it. For me, if something's a formula, I make that text blue. Up here is information about my font. The font color is what I want to affect. So if you look up here, this is the ribbon. Up here, these words are called, that's the menu. And right now in this ribbon here, it's all about formatting the contents of a cell. This particular cell is selected. It has the line around it, and you can see that it's showing the formula here, and it's showing the cell address E5. So I want to affect E5 right now. I can click on it if I haven't. And right here, the A with the line under it, when I hover over it, it says font color. Change the color of your text. I don't want it to be red. It would be red if I clicked that button. Instead, I want a different color. So I'm clicking the drop down, and I want it to be a dark blue. For me, the system I use is when it's blue, it's a formula. I know right away, don't type in that cell. When I create spreadsheets for someone else to enter data into, I go a step further. I take the cells they're going to type in and I make them yellow. The cell right here, that little paint bucket, this is a fill color, so it's going to fill the cell. Now that yellow to me is kind of harsh. I don't know about your monitor, but it's really, really bright on my monitor. I think it's a little too much. So I'm going to change that font color. I've used the light yellow before, but if you haven't, nothing shows up here. So I want to show you, you can go to more colors. And here I have all these different choices. If I had an exact color I want to choose, I can go to custom and put in the formula. But instead, I am going to choose the pale yellow that is a little easier on my eyes. Say okay. And now, oops, let me click away from that. There we go. So now if someone is filling in this spreadsheet for me, I say fill in the information in the yellow cells. Now, just as we did January, February, March, we can take this, drag it down, and it says, oh, I see a number on the end. I think that you want to increment that. So here we're going to go with gadget 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now here, we may want the exact same formatting we did here, but we don't know what the information is. So we can go here. We can copy that format, not have to go through all the steps again. That's what this is right here, Format Painter. I love this because when you click on it, when you hover over it, it tells you everything you need to know. If I click on it once, I can then click one time, let it go, and the Format Painter has gone away. But it formatted everything to be the same. So I can now go in here and put a number in. I might have items that I want to format that aren't connected. When I clicked and dragged here, they were all connected. So what happens if I want to format a number of things together and they aren't connected? We can go here. Instead of a single click, which turns it on one time, I can double click. And now I can click on a bunch of disconnected cells and format them the same. But to turn it off, I have to go back up here and click it again, and then that feature's turned off. So we've been spending some time in the worksheet. So this worksheet, the math, is really what helps me so much in Excel. Now, remember how I dragged down the formula? Let's put some more data in here. So I'm going to populate all these. We don't like to recreate things over and over. So I already showed you how you can drag information in a cell to another cell. This has a formula in it. And I want the formula to do the same thing. But what this formula is saying is add the 3 cells to the left. I want all these to do the exact same thing. I can take this and drag it down. Again, I grab it by the corner, drag down and let go. And I have totals for all of them. Now let's do a little bit more on the formatting. Let's create a grand total. Let's sum these. Notice that it makes an assumption for me. It says, oh, there's nothing on the left. Do you want to add what's above? I'm going to hit the enter key to accept that. And a standard format for a total is 1 line above and 2 lines below. So let's go to our formatting. I'm back here with cell formatting again. Right here, this border option gives us a lot of different selections. Right now, if you look carefully at that icon, it has the bottom of the cell underlined. If I clicked on this right now, you can't tell because this cell has a square around it, so I'll click away. It's now highlighted on the bottom. That's what the default was. So I want 1 line on top and 2 lines on the bottom. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to choose the drop down, show my border options. And here are all the different things I can look at. I like the top and double bottom border for a total. So I click on that and then I click away and you can see how that has changed the format. Something that's nice to do for cells is like for formatting structure is to put boxes around. So I like to, when I'm gathering data, I like to have cells with a border around them. A little bit easier on the printout. So here I select what I want to affect. I'm going back to the borders and this time I'm choosing all borders. So all sides of the cell. And I want to just clean this up a little bit and show you some more about formatting. I like it when data, the labels are centered. Right now, this is on the left. So I'm going to highlight this cell and the ones to the right, all the ones that are heading. And I am going to go to the alignment. And you have more options than what is showing right here. You have quick options right here. Here's left, center, right. But when they can't fit everything in the options, there's more. That's what these little triangles are. It gives you more options of what you can do as far as alignment goes. And notice are you talking about formatting the number? Is it the alignment? Is it the font? You have a lot of other options. What they're putting in the actual ribbon is what they believe you're going to use most often. So let's go to this one, which is center. And what that does is center it within the cell. Oops, hit it twice. There we go. So this looks better. And let me go back to my list. Okay, we are working through the worksheet. And on the top, on the left, this is one of my favorite features, undo. I wish in life we had an undo like Excel has an undo, but I love the undo feature. If you do something in Excel, let's make a mistake on purpose. Let's make this be red when I didn't mean for it to be red. I have the simple fix of undo. And it undoes the last thing I did. If I did 4 things in a row and I want to undo them, I click undo 4 times and it will go back and fix that. And then if I say, oh, wait, I didn't mean to undo, we have redo. That'll bring it right back again. Very helpful option. And then here's the clipboard. Here's where you have cut, copy, paste. I find the menu is very helpful where you can do that. You can choose something and you can say copy. Then you can click somewhere else and you can choose the paste. Oops, I'm doing the wrong thing. That's the paste format. Good old escape gets me out of that. I can choose copy with the keystroke of Command C. I can use my mouse or I can use the menu. I personally love using the keystrokes for copy and paste. Copy is hold down the command with the command button and then type C. And paste is hold down, control. Paste is hold down the control and V. And notice when it copied not just the contents of the cell, it copied the format as well. I am going to undo that so I don't have it there. So we're going to work our way across. And here are the different fonts. We can go through and we can select what we want. Now, this little moving marquee is going to stay there in case I want to repeat that action. I can hit escape because I could paste the same item over and over and over. When I hit escape, that will go away. Or when I do another action, it will go away. Now that I have this highlighted, I can make it bold. I can make it italic. I can underline it. I can change the font. I can change the size of the font. Here, I choose the exact size I want. Up here, I can just make it larger incrementally or smaller incrementally. And bold, italics, the border, the fill color, and the font color. Here is the sort of alignment. When you have a cell, you can't notice it too much right now because the cells are being centered, but I'm going to make this row taller. Within this row, I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to make it taller. And then you're going to notice that these items are no longer centered. They're centered left to right, but not top to bottom. When I go up to the alignment right here, they're aligned at the bottom. When it comes to height here, I can move it to the center. I can move it to the top. There are more options down here. Now let's go to number formats. I'm going to click on a number here. General is just going to do the normal number format. And what's interesting for that is sometimes when people get beyond a certain number, like let's see what it does once it gets into the thousands. Does it put a comma or does it not? Okay. There's no comma here. And notice I changed that data. My formulas are constantly running. So they make the adjustments. This one adjusted, this one adjusted. If I don't like the way this is formatted, I can change it by going up here. I have some standard options of currency, percentage, add the comma, include the decimal, don't have the decimal. And then I have this drop down that offers a lot of different options. And you can test those. Sometimes a number format is a date. Sometimes a number format is a time or a fraction. And it can even be text, which if it turns into text, it wouldn't do any formulas, any calculating at all. And as I work my way across, styles, we're not going to worry too much about that as intro. And over here, I already talked with you about the sum button. Find can be important if you're working on a large spreadsheet and there's something you're looking for. You can click on the search, the find feature and find it, especially if you've changed the name of something and you need to find each time you've used it in that spreadsheet and update that name. So that is a worksheet within the workbook. You can add a worksheet by clicking this plus button. That brings in a new sheet. It names it. It's actually a slightly different name down here. There's no space between the two, but we can change the names. We can go right here and double click. And there's sample, and then double click on it. You can even change the colors of these tabs. Tab color, let me do that one more time. Tab color, I find that really helpful. If I'm sharing a workbook with someone else, there are multiple tabs and they only need to be concerned with a certain one. I will let them know, okay, you're working in all the tabs that are green. I'm working in the tabs that are blue. And these can be reordered. I can simply click and drag and move. Come on now. Here we go. Okay. Drag it to the left. I can have a lot of worksheets in this workbook. I'm going to jump back to this one more time, and I want to talk with you a little more specifically about formulas. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see below. That might be too small. There we go. I'm going to scroll down my worksheet. And formulas are wonderful. Adding is what I do a lot, but sometimes there's other formulas we need to do, and I want you to understand the basics of a formula. So let's say I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I don't want that yellow there, so I'm going to drag this white cell. I like that format. I'm going to drag it over the two yellow ones. My sheet looks a little bit cleaner now. Maybe we need to remove the costs, the cost of goods for these gadgets. So we'll put those in. And in order to do that, we're actually going to need to create a total. So let's get a total for each. Let's create totals here. And I'm going to insert, I like to have a visual break on these. So between row 9 and 10, I'm going to insert a blank row. And I clicked on the 10. I got this gray highlight all the way across to select it. Then I right click to bring up this menu and I'm choosing insert. It gives me a blank row above. Do you remember how this added everything above? I can go here and add everything above, but I get the benefit of dragging this formula and having it do the work for me. I already created it. So now it's adding each one and it brought the formatting with it. So let's say that we have a cost for each one of these each month, and we'll just create some simple numbers. It captured this format thinking that I'm using it from above. And this one will say, actually, we'll have the same cost for every time because our cost of goods isn't changing. And when we want to find out what that would be minus the cost, we can click here and I'm going to create a formula. I'm going to hit the equal sign. I want to choose the total number. I'm going to click on that. And then I go up here and click. I want to subtract. So I'm going to hit my hyphen, which is right next to the 0 in my number line. And what do I want to subtract? I want to subtract the 40. So I just created my own formula and I hit the enter key. And that is it. That's minus my cost of goods. And I drag that across. Now, if I want to see how I did for the quarter, I'm going to go here. I'm going to sum everything on the left. I'm doing things I've taught you already because repetition is really helpful. I'm going to add, hit the enter key. And then this formula takes D9 and subtracts D11. I'm going to take this and drag it to the right because I want to do the same thing. There we go. So that is your base navigating your worksheet. And the workbook, the workbook simply is a collection of worksheets. And autofill, which I mentioned in the beginning as a topic we're covering, that's when I took these items and dragged to the right. I took January and dragged to the right and it automatically populated. That's autofill. Same thing happened when I took gadget 1 and dragged it down and ended up with gadget 4. It's very helpful for numbers as well. If I type in a number sequence, it's seeing that I've done a format before and it's applying it. I may or may not like that. Let's go to a regular format. Let's pick up this format and paste it over this range so it stops doing that. Here we go. And now I can take these numbers and say, I want to, enter this very far down my spreadsheet. And it enters all those numbers for me. I don't have to go through and type them. I have to show it what sort of incrementing I want. So I could also do it by fives. If I typed in 5, 10, 15, and then dragged it down, it would increment each one by 5. So we've talked about autofill. We've talked about the basic formula. Now, what's really important when you use Excel is I need to print the data. I want to print it. I want to see it where I can capture it. As much as we'd like to say paperless office, often what we do to back things up is we print them. We have a hard copy, or we need to share it with people in a paper format. I've created a little bit of an interesting page layout with this long entry right here, but we'll go with that. I want you to see what that's going to do as I look at the print preview. So we're going to go up to File and choose Print and look at my preview over here. it's messy because it has this long column where I taught you how to increment by 1. So I'm going to clean that out. What I really care about is printing this information right here. So I am going to go back to my spreadsheet. Oops, go back. There we go. And this column, I'm just going to delete it rather than go through and remove everything. Now notice right here, there's a little dash line. That came up because that's where my page break is. That's the end of the page. I'm going to click on the column G, and rather than go through and replace each one, I'm just going to delete the contents. I selected the G, the whole column went gray, then I right-clicked it, and now I want to choose delete. It deleted everything in that column. Now when I go in and print, notice that information's gone. And down here, I'm at page 1 of 1. It's no longer spilling over to a second page. I'm going to go back to the screen again. And page layout is important for you to understand, because as we look at this right now, let me go back there one more time. Notice the page orientation is called portrait when it's that vertical layout. The other way would be landscape. You might want this to be larger on your screen. You might want it to fill up the whole page. We might say, we don't really want this portrait at all. So let's go back. To change that, we go into page layout. Page layout is a different option in the menu. When I click on that, it brings up a different ribbon. These are new buttons, and these all relate to the page layout. Orientation is what determines the way the page looks, whether it print portrait or landscape. And it gives a little example here. I'm going to switch to landscape. Now, when I go back to File and Print, I have a landscape orientation. So we are about halfway through training right now. I want to pause and ask, David, do we have any questions in the chat?
We don't have any questions at the moment, but I would like to point out we will be sending you a link to a video of this presentation. So that way you can go through it at your own pace and take your time and make sure we understand everything we're hearing. A lot of good information coming at us very, very quickly. So yeah, I don't see anything in the chat at the moment.
Okay. Thanks, David. And that is the beauty of these webinars. You get to watch them at your own pace. You can watch the recording and you can pause it. You can speed up through the parts that you understand and just focus in on the pieces that are new to you. So going back here, we have a lot of options, and this is an intro to Excel class. So I'm not going to go into a lot of these topics, but you're welcome to go in and explore. My recommendation to you when you're learning Excel is open up a worksheet. Have a plan for what you want to create and just play there. Don't go in trying to create something and you feel like you have to get it done right the first time. Go in just playful and experiment and try different things and take the pressure off yourself and just allow yourself to learn and experiment in there and create something small and see where it goes from there. So this is just kind of getting your feet wet and getting you a little more comfortable. When it comes to printing things out, you can go into the page layout here. We can go into this particular screen. And there's one thing I want to share with you that's really important and helps a lot of people in Excel is this is the page set. Let me jump back just a second. I'm in page layout. I'm seeing the ribbon for page layout. It says page setup here, and it's this bottom little arrow. It's going into the details. This is the favorite feature for me and many people when they make an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to go to the footer, custom footer. And what we do is we add the file name to the footer. See all these different options here. We can format the text. We can insert page numbers at the bottom of the document. We can put the date in. My recommendation is insert file name. And then I like to put a tab and a hyphen. I'm sorry, a space, a hyphen, and a space. And then the tab name. And then I say, okay. And okay one more time. I am going to save all these changes I've been making in this file. And let's go back and look at when we print this, what's different. Look at this now. I have Intro to Excel sample spreadsheet. That's my file name. And then sample is the tab name. The reason I love to name these files is you can look at a printout you made and you're trying to find it. You're scratching your head saying, what did I name that file? I have so many Excel files. I want to look for the right one. This way, you know exactly what to search for. Your file name is right there. That is a favorite feature for me. So here we are back at the file. Another important feature for you is backing up your data. I recommend to people to back up their data on a regular basis. And maybe you're keeping things in the cloud and you're relying on the cloud to back things up for you. I would also recommend that you hold them yourself in an external hard drive, a flash drive, or some other format, especially those really important documents. Because I like to copy mine on a regular basis, like at the end of the month, I'll back everything up. I'll name the folder with that month name. So that way, if I'm working on a file, what are we in right now? June. If I'm working on a file in June, something happens, the file gets messed up. And I say, oh my gosh, I made some mistakes. I knew it was great at the end of May. Forget this one. I'm going to go back to the end of May one that was good, and I'll work from there. I don't have to go back very far to find a good file to work from. Instead, I have my backup. Now, we all rely on the cloud to do a lot of our backing up for us, but what's going to happen one day if that cloud file is not there for you? I don't like to think about it either, but I want control of my own data. I want to be able to get to that data. I want to be the person that backs it up. So I have multiple external hard drives. I back up to them at different times. So I have material that I can go to for my important documents should anything happen. And if you're only keeping files on your laptop, your desktop, whatever type of format you're using, please, please, please get an external copy for them. I like 2 external copies. I want to be covered in case something happens. If something happens to my laptop, nowadays, unfortunately, we have to be prepared for people having issues with not being able to get to the data on their laptop because of ransomware, sadly to say. But that would be something where you can protect yourself, back up your data on a regular basis. When I am using a file over a period of time, there's another technique I use to create incremental files. So what I would do for this one, for instance, let's say it's a new month and I want to keep this as it was, and I want to have a backup of it within the current folder. I can do a save as and browse. I'm going to go to the name I have right here, and I might change this in some way. Maybe I'm going to make it the July file. Maybe I'm going to make it version 2. Maybe I'm comparing a couple files and want 2 copies. Maybe someone else has added to my file and I want to keep my information separate from theirs. And I might name it, David added material or something, but I can customize things and save the name. It would keep the prior one as is, and then I would work off the new one. I'll cancel here. All right, so we've covered a number of different topics so far. We still have another 20 minutes to go in our training. I want to share with you some ways to get what you need for training in Excel in the moment. This is my favorite technique when I'm looking for something specific, how to do it, is good old YouTube University. If there's a certain feature in Excel that you want to learn how to use, you forget how to do it. For instance, formatting a cell. You can go to YouTube, you can type in Microsoft Excel or just Excel formatting a cell, and you'll see a number of videos, and they might range from 1 minute to 20 minutes, depending on the level of detail. And you can then watch that particular feature be explained to you. This is wonderful for formulas. If you have a certain formula you want to use and you're not sure how to enter it, you can use that. And lookup tables is a great type of formula that I'm always running out to YouTube to remind me how to do, how to use the formula, because I don't use it very often. A lookup table is when you have a list and you want it to look through the list and then pull an item in a multiple column table and then pull another item from it. Sorry, that's advanced Excel. I'll hold back on that, but very valuable tool and a frequently used formula for businesses. So David, I want to jump back to you. Is there any area, and I'll pose a question, so please let us know in the chat. Let me know what areas you'd like to learn a little more about, and we can spend some more time focusing specifically on what your questions are. Otherwise, I have some other topics I can address. So I just wanted to make sure we address the people that are attending today.
Okay, we don't see anything yet, but while we're pausing and giving you a chance to put something in the chat, and I'm going to be posting a link to a survey later on, and please look for that, click on it, tell us how we're doing and what other webinars and trainings you might be interested in. We're always looking to improve, and believe me, we have thick skin, we can take it, so let us know how we're doing. And if you have any other topics, type them in the chat. At the moment, I don't see anything.
Okay. So here we are. We're going to go through some of the menus here. So the file menu brings me the different options I have of going to open a file, create a new one, save it. Save as is when you're saving it as a slightly different name, print it, share it. You want to export the material. Home is the standard menu that opens. That's the one we talked about at the very beginning. Insert. There are different tools that you can use within Excel. Pivot tables are great ways to move data around and analyze it in different ways. There's also charts, very popular features in Excel. YouTube has a ton of mini videos you can watch on various chart options and formatting for those. Page layout, we talked about that a little bit already. Formulas, there are advanced formula options. And data, a lot of times people are using Excel within businesses to export their data from another format. For instance, a lot of companies use QuickBooks, and they will have QuickBooks information, they'll export that to Excel, and then they'll be able to analyze their data at a detailed level within Excel.
We do have a question, as long as you've got this screen up.
Sure.
How can we roll down while letting the heading remaining, line number 4,
okay,
so that the headings can be referred to from time to time?
All right, so this has changed a little bit over the time. Let me scroll back up to the top. So right, because we've been missing this the whole time. Remember, it was imagine your business name here. We haven't been able to see it. So what we are looking for is, let's see here. It's so funny, this has moved over the time. And because of the way this is run, I'm gonna have to pull it out of full screen mode real quick, David, because I can't see all my menus above. Oh, interesting. The bar for this shared webinar is in my way. See if I can get that to hide. Ugh. I don't know if I can move this. Rats. Let me see if I can move this to the side. There we go. Okay. So this search up here at the top, David, are you able to see that on the top? The search option here?
Yes. Yeah.
What we're looking for is freeze panes is one version of it, but split screen is really helpful. Where do you want to split your window? So splitting, it's split where my cell was. So right now I have two versions of this window. I have a bottom window and a top window. I can take this and move it where I want the split to be. And then I have two different screens. And I'm just dragging things right now. Watch the shape of my mouse change. And one of the keys is, can you search on the right word? Now, right now, these things have a bit of a break. So let's go delete some of these. And let's see, what did I do to my data? Oh, I see, I'm way over here. Look at this. Look at my right here, I have A and then G. There's a bunch of information I can't see. So I'm going to click here and then I'm going to arrow to my left. And it's going to show what I can't see here. And arrow up. There's my data. Now I have the two different screens here. So I can set this as a split screen. And move this up a little bit. And now imagine I have a lot more data. So we're going to go over here and we're going to write April. All right. And we're going to drag that. Oops. I know. You know what? It's going to bug me. It has to be uppercase. There we go. I'm going to take this and drag it to the right. Come here. There we have it. I'm going to drag it to the right a lot and let go. There we go. Populates all the way over. And now notice I can see the gadget over here. I can see what's up here. I have the headings in the above. And as I scroll to the right, when my data disappears, I'm not losing the headings that are in row 3. And I'm not losing the labels that are in column A. That is called split screen. Another option for this is called freeze panes. And sometimes freeze panes becomes a pain because it doesn't operate the way I'm expecting it to. So let's remove these, and I remove them by dragging them all the way to the edge. Come here. Come on now. There we go. So right now I have removed the split. So instead, I want to go here and we'll do the freeze panes. Freeze panes. Keep rows and columns visible while the rest. Okay, got it. Now, sometimes I do this and it doesn't freeze where I want it to. So all right, I need to click one lower. So we go over here and we say undo. And I need to go one lower and freeze panes. Freeze panes. Oh, top row, top column. See, this is where it frustrates me. Unfreeze panes. And if a viewer knows how to do this, because they just changed the way it has worked from the past. Freeze panes. There we go. Did it? Oh, it did it correctly. Here we go. Now I can scroll down. And it's freezing those top 3 rows, not as separate windows like before, but the top rows won't change. What I did for split screen makes it easier for me because I can then lock this as well. But that is a feature that helps so much. And those features are actually in the various windows, but because I use them so often, I am using the search feature for, you'll want to write these down, freeze panes and split screen. Those are both very helpful. It takes a little bit getting comfortable with them, but once you split the screen, you can move the split to wherever you want by capturing the intersection and moving it. Great question. I'm so glad you asked that one.
We have one more. What
Yes.
if I wanted to put some notes attached to a cell, or is there a way to attach a larger note?
You can, yes. So let's say this number right here is really low. And maybe there's a reason. I mean, we had 30 in January, 25 in February, only 6 in March. Maybe there's a reason. So we have the option to add a new comment or add a new note. So note, it's gonna write who is the person using this file. So I'm typing in low inventory. Maybe we had low inventory that day and we just ran out and we would have sold more if we could. And that note is going to show up. Now let's go in, and I have not spent a lot of time on the difference between a cell note and a cell comment. So let's see the difference. I think I know it. Let's see here. Oh, let's try this one more time. Edit note. We'll try a different one down here. We'll do this one. Insert. Oops, wrong insert. All right. So what am I doing differently? I have a different mouse right now, and it's not necessarily bringing up the menu I was expecting. New comment. Here we go. New comment. So for this one, Start a conversation. I believe this is when I can leave a comment for another person working on the spreadsheet. Number. There we go. So there's a comment and someone can reply. So comments is a conversation going back and forth about information, where this note, it creates that little red triangle and the note shows up. And when you print, there's actually a print option that will give you the option to print your cell notes on a different sheet. So later on, you could look and see where the cell notes are. So that is a cell comment versus a cell note. And let's see, what else do we want to cover here today? We're getting into some of these more advanced things. So here is something very often used is word wrap. If we're doing some text, let's say we have a column name. Think of an example that we would want to. All right, we'll do this. Right now, this text is centered, and I like the width of the column because it matches the width of the others, but it's spilling over into, it's too much. So I don't want to make it smaller. I like that font size. That's where wrapping the text will help. And it wraps the text and it uses the height. Remember, I made this column, this row taller earlier. If I don't have it taller, it's going to chop information off. Because I do have more information there. Remember how I did a best fit when I double clicked here to adjust to this size? The same thing works here. I have information in a cell that is not showing. So if I go to the bottom of this cell, the row, I get the double-headed arrow, double click, it adjusts to the best fit for that, the information above. And now we have Q1, 2022. So wrapping text is really helpful. Often what we'll do with information is we might even have notes down here. And with an Excel spreadsheet, you can also do things from Word. If you have an explanation or information from Microsoft Word, you can copy it and paste it in here. You just want to be aware that when you paste it in Word, it's going to paste as one big long entry. And what you can do at that point is you can take the big long entry and you can take some cells and merge them and make them larger and really fit that paragraph in. But it's very helpful with all these Microsoft products. They're designed to work well with each other. So for instance, this Excel chart is very simple to paste into a PowerPoint presentation. You don't have to do a screenshot where you're capturing an image of it. You actually paste this information directly into PowerPoint, and PowerPoint keeps it with its Excel structure. And you can basically work in Excel inside a PowerPoint slide. You can even create links to Excel workbooks. So as you change the Excel workbook, the PowerPoint data is changing. So the Microsoft products work beautifully together. David, is there anything new in the chat to discuss?
Not at the moment. Let's see. No, not at the moment. I did put in the link to the survey, so please take advantage of that.
Okay, great. So I am going to switch back to my PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to stop sharing this because there's some more we want to share with you as we wrap up. So I've asked questions. Feel free to put some more questions in the chat. And we'd love to know what you want to learn more about, whether it be in Excel or other classes you'd like us to put on for you. We do have a PowerPoint class next week, this same time. It runs for the same time in the morning, but it's going to be an hour and a half instead of an hour if you'd like to join us for that class. If you're watching the recording, you'll want to look for that PowerPoint class. And as we wrap up, I want to let you know that within the Shasta SBDC, we have quite a few consultants that focus on different topics, and they are here to support you. So if you are in the Shasta Trinity County area, our Shasta SBDC supports you. You can check in with Emily. Here's her contact information, and talk with her. She will discuss with you your needs and how this SBDC can best support you. If you're not located in our area and you are in the US, you can go to this website, americassbdc.org, find your SBDC to find one near you. And they are here to support you. They are a wonderful source of support for you and your small business. You can find the Shasta-Cascade SBDC at our Facebook page. We also have a Twitter account. You can find us on LinkedIn, and we have a YouTube channel. When you go out to that YouTube channel, there are a lot of prior trainings we've put out there. In fact, I bet you can find my Excel Advanced training that I did a while back. If you've just finished this class and you want more, you can go watch that video. And I even did the PowerPoint class in the past. You can catch that video too. So we are here to support you and your business. And David, I wanted to leave you a minute to see, is there anything that we can, that you'd like to share to help support our clients?
Not at the moment, but I will mention that we actually put that link to your advanced Excel class. We put that in the chat a little earlier.
Oh, wonderful.
Somebody had asked about that. No, let's see. How will you be sending out the video? We'll be doing that via email to the email address you registered with. Whatever that email address is, everybody who registered will be getting a copy of the link to the video and a link to the survey.
David, are there other upcoming classes that we could mention to people, or should we point them to the website?
Yeah, you can go to the website, sbdcsc.org/events, or let's see, we have one on Google Drive coming up on the same day as the PowerPoint class.
Okay, and that's a week from today?
That's a week from today.
Great.
And in July, we have a bunch more coming up on social media. So you'll be able to see those. That's with Lonnie Lott, who's one of our other excellent presenters like Linda.
Thank you for your feedback. We love your feedback on this. If you haven't yet, please do click on the link and share with us. How can we support you better? What can we do better? What can I do better? I love feedback. It makes me and my business better. And we're here for you. So thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time, and congratulations on learning more about how to serve your business.